Hi, it's Janae Hunter here with the Atlanta Voice, and I am sitting here with the Democratic nominee, Miss Stacey Abrams. How are you today?
I am well. Thank you so much, Janae.
Thank you. Okay. No, I'm kidding. She's just great, guys. So thank you so much for taking the time out to, sit with us. I know the media blitz for you has been crazy since, the results have been announced. How's that been for you?
I'm a little excited and a little exhausted, but both are good things to have. I'm privileged to be the nominee, and I look forward to talking to everyone in Georgia about how we can get this done.
Okay, yes. So walk us through maybe just since Tuesday night, what looking ahead, walk us through that.
Well, I went to bed around 2 in the morning, got up at 5 a.m. because people wanted to start talking. But no, there's an incredible excitement and enthusiasm that has a little to do with me, but a lot to do with what this campaign has tried to create. And that is having conversations with people across the state of Georgia, going North Georgia, South Georgia, East and West, Middle Georgia, and it worked. We were able to win 153 of 159 counties. And what we're going to do for the next 6 months is continue to do that, reaching out to communities, talking about issues and values, and the fact that we don't have to compromise who we are to win.
So let's go back to Tuesday night after getting those results, and you made history, and we are witnessing history right now. And maybe that's just why I'm just that excited, to have this moment. But just how are you feeling? How did you feel, just in that moment to get that vote?
I think it's going to set in eventually. I mean, I was with my parents, my brothers and sisters, my nieces and nephews, and we were very excited. And I may have jumped in the air a little bit. But yeah, I also keep remembering that as privileged as I am to be the nominee, we still have to win in November. And part of my personality is you celebrate the moment, but you never take your eyes off the prize. And we have to continue to build this coalition where folks like you and me and folks that are very different from us all see themselves reflected in this campaign. But yeah, I was very happy.
Yes.
And remain so.
Yes, keep riding on that. So that wasn't the first time that you made history. So Tuesday night you were the first woman, but you're also the first African American. So just how does that feel?
What I think about is that my opportunity is to change what the face of leadership looks like. By being the first woman nominee in Georgia, the first black nominee in Georgia, the first black woman nominee in America, I am letting other people see what they can do. And I will say this to you. I think part of our shared excitement is that we know that a decade ago this wouldn't have been possible.
Right.
And sometimes when you're listening to what's coming out of DC, it still doesn't seem possible.
Yeah.
And there's something very energizing, but also very humbling about being a part of remaking and retaking our country so that we know that this is ours too, and no one can tell us we don't belong.
Yeah. Right, and I actually saw your interview on Full Frontal with Samantha Diaz. It was actually super cute, super funny. But there was a part when you guys had the scandal type moment, and one thing that you said that I really pulled from was that sometimes when you're the first, people think that you're the last. So you're essentially the first and the last. So do you still feel that way?
I don't want that to be so, which is why I'm being so careful and critical of everything we do so that we do the right thing. We remember the incredible joy of President Obama's election, but we also know that from the moment he began, those who were critics of him continued to hold him to a standard that was impossible. He was supposed to fix the world.
Right.
And then there was Wednesday. And that's just not possible. And so part of it for me is grounding myself in the history of the moment and where I stand in that space, but also remembering that I've got to make sure other people get to do this.
Right.
And so the responsibility is high, but the opportunity is high too, and I'm good with both of them.
Right. Okay. Yes. So I'm gonna keep going back to Tuesday night, maybe. But yes,
We can live there all day if you like.
But your opponent gave her speech, and she offered, her support to you, as well as encouraging her supporters to, lend their support to you as well. So how will you speak to or inspire people that were not originally down with your campaign?
Well, I would say this. I appreciate Stacey Evans and her very gracious concession and her encouraging her supporters to stand with us. What I also take from Tuesday's results is that 76% of Georgia Democrats who cast a ballot were already good.
Right.
We want to add the remaining 24%, and then we want to expand that. And that really our mission has to be to continue what we've done, which is we're going across the state. The fact that I was able to win in North Georgia near the Appalachian Mountains,
right,
and able to win Southwest Georgia, able to win places where Democrats normally don't show up.
Right.
There was a CNN piece that pointed out that I won Forsyth County.
Oh, wow.
That's telling. But what it says, and I think this is what Ms. Evans was referencing, we have an opportunity to rework the narrative in Georgia, and to say that race, while it will always matter and will always be centered in our conversations, is one metric that we use to talk about who we are.
Right.
I'm never going to walk away from that, but I want to make certain that when we do this work, everyone knows that they're a part of it.
Okay. So moving forward, I know one big thing that a lot of people, especially with this campaign, or that a lot of young people like myself, one of their main concerns was education, especially like with the Hope Scholarship. And you've humanized yourself and been very open and transparent about the fact that you too have, taken out loans and things like that. And do you feel like that was also used against you, though, during your campaign, like in an effort to say, I'm going to fight for this because I've experienced, I know what it's like to take out a loan, but people are kind of throwing that back.
Republicans want to win.
Right.
And, I want to be very clear. The Hope Scholarship has never diminished. It is still alive and well, $700 million. It is the most generous merit-based scholarship in the country. That said, we have to do more. And that's the piece that I want us to keep talking about. We have to expand hope. We have to make certain that even if you don't have a B average or a great score in the SAT or ACT, which are two different things, that you still can go to college. But to the point of the humanization of debt, that's most of us.
Right.
It's easy to make decisions when you have a lot. It's hard to make decisions when you have to actually make choices. And part of my life as a leader, as a person, as a business person, is that it's understanding how to make those choices, how to set priorities.
Right.
And I think that's what I bring to it. Now, the Republicans have already started attacking me for my debt. I think they're a day late and a dollar short. Because the reality is most people have to make these choices. And in that space, I have never failed to meet my obligations.
Right.
But the reality is I share much more in common with average Georgians because they have to make those choices too. We have to do all of the above. We don't get to pick and choose what we want to do. And I think that I've done an excellent job of making sure that I meet my personal obligations, my professional obligations, and I've never denied myself my opportunities to grow. Yes, I could have gone to different schools, but the education I have has positioned me to be here,
Right.
and I'm grateful for that, and it was worth the investment.
Yes. I want to take a minute to snap for that because you're just very inspiring. So, and very human, which I can definitely appreciate. So with your transparency, your personal obligations, as well as your political obligations, moving forward, how are you planning to, unite the Democratic electorate?
I'm going to keep talking about what we've talked about for 11 months, talking about education from cradle to career, meeting everyone at the point of their needs.
Right.
Talking about the fact that we have to build a diverse economy for young people like you who are just coming into the economy, for folks who have businesses that they want to start, ones who have businesses they want to grow, but also making certain that we're putting money into the pockets of everyday people through an earned income tax credit, through training, through financial literacy and financial wellness,
Right.
talking about affordability because it doesn't matter if you can't afford to actually live with your best life. And then making certain that we talk about the experiences and the needs of real Georgians. expanding Medicaid,
Right.
expanding transit and transportation, building infrastructure, making sure broadband exists outside of Metro Atlanta.
Yeah.
Those are the issues we're going to talk about, because those are the values that we have. That people should have an education, should have a good economy, and should have government work for everyone.
Okay. And so just continuing to look forward, a lot of people, or not a lot of people, but maybe it's split, so a lot of people are very hopeful and very optimistic, but then there are also people that are saying that it's going to be impossible when November comes to, get you that full election. So what is your, your message or a statement to them that are saying like, okay, like this is so great that she got, that backing by this major party, but it's going to be almost impossible to get her in office?
Elections are about message and math. My message speaks to everyone. I don't know a person in rural Georgia or urban Georgia or suburban Georgia who does not want a good life for themselves and their families. And I have bold and detailed plans to talk about how we make that so. But the math is this. This primary election had historic turnout. So it wasn't simply that I won. We won because more of us showed up than any time in the recent past. That is extraordinary. And we were only 54,000 votes behind the Republicans. And this matters because the Republicans outspent the Democrats in this election.
Wow.
And despite spending more than we did, they only turned out about 54,000 more of their people. Democrats lose elections by around 200 to 250,000 votes. We have more than 1 million eligible Democratic voters who simply haven't voted in midterms. Our mission and our responsibility is to make the math work.
Right.
We can win if we decide we want to. We can win if we vote. It's not that we lose because we don't have the voters. That was true a decade ago or 20 years ago. It's not true today. If we lose in November, it's because we didn't do the work, and there is no one who's going to say, I didn't do the work, and I don't believe that Georgia will fail to do the work.
I don't believe it either. I'm optimistic.
Thank you.
So we're going to cut that. But now I just want to do a quick little hot topic type session with you or whatever.
Okay.
Nothing in the hot seat, but let's just get to know you a little bit, just on the personal side. So what music are you listening to right now? What's in your playlist right now?
I have a very broad interest in music, and so right now I'm listening to Brandy Clark, who is a really interesting country music writer. I have Moana on repeat.
From the movie?
Yes,
Oh
I love the soundtrack.
Yes.
And I start my day with Lemonade. Break in the next week or so I'm going to watch a lot of things.
Yay.
I have to catch up on Thor Ragnarok because I need to see Infinity Wars. I've got a lot of work to do.
Wow. Okay, so you toured, or not toured, but you've been all over Georgia. What was your favorite small town?
Never going to answer that question.
Really? Never?
I need every small town to know that they were my favorite.
I'm hoping you say my hometown, but we'll shout that out off camera. Then we'll keep
So which
that.
one was which one?
Americas.
Americas is a lovely town, and we were there on our drive to history the day before the election.
Yeah, when you said Southwest Georgia, I was like,
There you
that's
go.
me. Yes.
I've been to DeSoto.
DeSoto, did
See?
you?
You didn't think I knew about DeSoto.
Okay. I have some friends that are from there.
There you
too,
go.
So yeah, that's great. That's great. What's your favorite color?
Yellow.
Yellow. Why?
It's been my favorite color since I was little. It's bright and cheery, and it also, it was always a bright, shining color, and it made me happy.
Yes, I love happiness.
I wouldn't go that far, but I love that you love happiness.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much,
Thank
Stacey.
you. Still.
My hands. Yes. Okay, so what was the last movie you watched?
Oh God, what year is it? So I haven't been able to go to the. They did let me go see Black Panther.
Okay.
I made it. I told them it was a necessary political activity.
Right.
So I got to see Black Panther.
How many times did you watch it?
I only got to go once.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's on DVD now. So we're gonna see
I'm
you a
hoping.
copy.
I get to take a break in the next week or so I'm going to watch a lot of things.
Yay.
I have to catch up on Thor Ragnarok because I need to see Infinity Wars. I've got a lot of work to do.
Wow. Okay, so you toured, or not toured, but you've been all over Georgia. What was your favorite small town?
Never going to answer that question.
Really? Never?
I need every small town to know that they were my favorite.
I'm hoping you say my hometown, but we'll shout that out off camera. Then we'll keep
So which
that.
one was which one?
Americas.
Americus is a lovely town, and we were there on our drive to history the day before the election.
Yeah, when you said Southwest Georgia, I was like,
There you
that's
go.
me. Yes.
I've been to DeSoto.
DeSoto, did
See?
you?
You didn't think I knew about DeSoto.
Okay. I have some friends that are from there.
There you
too,
go.
So yeah, that's great. That's great. What's your favorite color?
Yellow.
Yellow. Why?
It's been my favorite color since I was little. It's bright and cheery, and it also, it was always a bright, shining color, and it made me happy.
Yes, I love happiness.
I wouldn't go that far, but I love that you love happiness.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much,
Thank
Stacey.
you.